Utilizing groundbreaking imaging technology, an international team of scientists and archaeologists have found a secret hallway within the heart of the ancient structure, beckoning them to explore its depths and reveal its purpose. As the first images of the hidden corridor emerged, a chill ran down their spines. The hallway, draped in darkness and filled with the echoes of the past, seemed to defy everything we knew about pyramids. Its walls, made of roughly cut stones, and the carved ceiling bore witness to the skill and determination of the ancient builders. The discovery brought forth whispers of King Khufu's lost burial chamber and the possibility of untold treasures laying in wait. But as the experts delved deeper into the enigma, they began to question the true nature of the pyramid. The presence of the hidden corridor, seemingly out of place and shrouded in mystery, ignited debates on the pyramid's original purpose. Was it merely a tomb, or something far more sinister? Theories of ritualistic practices and concealed vaults of treasures surfaced, only adding to the intrigue. So, officials who oversee Egyptian ancient artifacts have found a secret hallway inside the main entrance of the Great Pyramid of Giza. A video from a small camera showed the inside of a 30-foot long and 7-foot wide corridor. The officials believed that it may have been built to help support the weight of the pyramid around the entrance or to hide another chamber that has not been found yet. They first discovered the corridor in 2016 by using a special type of imaging called mography. A group of scientists from the Scan Pyramids project used a special method to detect changes in density inside the pyramid. They did this by analyzing how muons, which are particles that come from space, pass through the pyramid. These muons are only partially blocked by stone, which allowed the scientists to find the empty spaces inside. Using this technique, they discovered a space behind the northern face of the Great Pyramid that was about 7 meters above the main entrance. They found this space in an area that had a chevron-shaped structure made of stone. After this discovery, the scientists used radar and ultrasound to do more tests. They then used a tiny 6mm wide endoscope to see inside the pyramid. They were able to insert the endoscope through a small opening between the stones that made up the chevron structure. During a news conference held next to the pyramid, officials revealed the footage captured by a camera. The video showed an empty corridor with walls made of roughly cut stones and a carved stone ceiling. We're going to continue our scanning, so we will see what we can do to figure out what we can find out beneath it, or just by the end of this corridor, said Mustafa Waziri, head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities. Zahar Hawass, an Egyptologist from Egypt, called the discovery of the corridor a major discovery. He said that it will be seen by people all over the world and talked about in their homes for the first time. He also suggested that this discovery could help uncover whether the burial chamber of King Khufu still exists inside the pyramid. Hawass believed that there might be something important in the space below the corridor. He said that he thinks they will know if he's right in a few months. However, the discovery of the corridor raises new questions about the purpose of the pyramid. While it has long been believed that the pyramid was built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, the presence of this hidden corridor suggests that there may be more to the pyramid's design than we previously thought. Some experts have speculated that the corridor could have been used for ritual purposes or to store valuable treasures. There have been other significant discoveries made inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, and one of them was undoubtedly a hidden void at least 100 feet long. So, a new space was found inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, which has similar measurements to the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is a long corridor that leads to the burial chamber of Khufu. However, it is still not known what is inside the new space or what it was used for. This is the first large inner structure discovered inside the pyramid since the 1800s. The discovery was made possible by new technology in high-energy particle physics. The findings were published in the scientific journal called Nature. This is definitely the discovery of the century, says archaeologist and Egyptologist Yukinori Kowe, a National Geographic emerging explorer. There have been many hypotheses about the pyramid, but no one even imagined that such a big void is located above the Grand Gallery. These findings are part of a long journey that dates back thousands of years to understand the Great Pyramid of Giza, which has been shrouded in mystery and fascination. The pyramid was built around 4,500 years ago, during a time when ancient Egypt was ruled by a wealthy and powerful monarchy that benefited from trade and fertile Nile agriculture. The Great Pyramid is an incredible display of this power. The pharaoh Khufu, who reigned from 2509 to 2483 BC, built himself a massive pyramid that covers over 13 acres and was originally 479 feet tall. It is made up of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, which had to be quarried, transported, cut to size, and placed into position. These sorts of pyramids are the major product, so to speak, of the kings who built them, says Kate Spence, a University of Cambridge archaeologist who studies ancient Egypt. An awful lot of Egyptian society is probably geared toward building pyramids at this particular time. The Great Pyramid has always attracted the curious, and today visitors can enter the pyramid through a tunnel created in the 9th century AD. The National Geographic Society has conducted 2 explorations of the pyramid, including a 2002 study of the air shafts extending from one of the pyramid's 3 chambers. The new discovery was made by the Scan Pyramids project, which is an international mission under the supervision of Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities. The project began in October 2015 with the goal of using a variety of technologies to explore Egypt's largest pyramids without causing any damage. Previously, Scan Pyramids had identified some intriguing voids and anomalies, which were not entirely surprising. The interior of the pyramids are much rougher and much more rubble-filled than most people imagine. However, the new void was a complete surprise, and it is arguably the most significant discovery ever made using muon radiography, which is an imaging technique that was first demonstrated in the pyramids of Giza. "It's a striking discovery," said Chris Morris, a physicist at Los Alamos National Laboratory and expert on muon imaging techniques. "This makes another muon radiographer jealous. I'm jealous. These guys have discovered a remarkable thing. The technique used to look through cathedral walls, Mayan pyramids, and even volcanoes is based on a natural occurrence of subatomic particles called muons. These tiny particles rain down on Earth constantly when cosmic rays collide with Earth's upper atmosphere. Although we cannot see muons with the naked eye, scientists can detect them using special films and detectors that track their 3D paths. Since muons can pass more easily through empty spaces than solid materials, arranging multiple muon detectors around a structure can help scientists create a map of the structure's solid and empty areas. Experts are not entirely sure about the purpose of the void, which appears empty and stretches for at least 100 feet. However, they're being cautious about referring to it as a chamber for now. We don't know for the moment if it's horizontal or inclined, or if it is made from one structure or several successive structures, said study co-author Mehdi Tayobi, president and co-founder of the Heritage Innovation Presentation (HIP) Institute, in a press briefing. "What we do know is that this void is there, that it is impressive, and that it was not expected by any kind of theory." Tayobi and his colleagues admit that they are unsure about what the void is, but some Egyptologists have proposed potential explanations. Spence, an archaeologist from Cambridge, believes that the void may have been created during the construction of the Great Pyramid. She notes that very large blocks, weighing many tons, make up the ceiling of the chambers located above the king's chamber, which is the main room where Khufu was buried. Since the void lines up with the upper chambers of the Great Pyramid, which were designed to alleviate pressure on the king's chamber below, Spence suggests that the void could have served as an internal ramp for moving the massive roof blocks into place. She believes that as construction progressed, the ramp could have been left empty or filled loosely with materials. "It's the position of the void that, to me, makes this interpretation the most likely," said Spence. "It's too well placed for getting blocks into place up there." According to Salima Ikram, an Egyptologist from the American University in Cairo, the void could have played a part in constructing the Grand Gallery, since it is located directly above it. However, she adds with a hint of humour that we should not take the current interpretations too seriously, as they may turn out to be incorrect. Only time will tell whether the proposed explanations for the void's purpose are accurate or not, but the discoveries inside the Great Pyramid of Giza don't end there. In the list of the most important of these discoveries are the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber. The King's Chamber is a large room that measures approximately 10.5 meters by 5.2 meters, and it is located at the center of the pyramid. The chamber is made entirely of red granite and contained a sarcophagus that was used to hold the body of Pharaoh Khufu. The sarcophagus is the only object in the chamber, and there are no other decorations or inscriptions on the walls. The discovery of the King's Chamber was a significant moment in the history of Egyptology. Prior to its discovery, there was much speculation about the purpose of the pyramid and the chambers located inside it. Some theories suggested that the pyramid was a granary or a tomb for a powerful ruler, but there was no concrete evidence to support these theories. The discovery of the King's Chamber provided the first real insight into the purpose of the pyramid and the beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. The King's Chamber was discovered by an Arab historian named al-Makrizi in the 15th century. He explored the pyramid and described the chamber in his writings, but it was not until the 19th century that the chamber was fully investigated by Western archaeologists. In 1837, British explorer Richard William Howard Vyse and his team discovered the entrance to the chamber, and they were the first people in modern times to enter the room. The King's Chamber is an engineering marvel, not just because of the materials and techniques used to construct it, but also because of its design. The chamber is located at the center of the pyramid, and its ceiling is made up of 5 enormous granite slabs that weigh over 70 tons each. Yet somehow, the builders managed to lift and place these massive blocks in perfect alignment with each other, said Bob Breyer, Egyptologist and Senior Research Fellow at the Long Island University. The discovery of the King's Chamber was a groundbreaking moment in the history of archaeology. It provided concrete evidence that the Great Pyramid of Giza was, in fact, a tomb for a powerful ruler, and it helped to dispel many of the myths and legends that had grown up around the pyramid over the centuries. The discovery of the Queen's Chamber within the King's Chamber was a significant achievement in world history. The Queen's Chamber was discovered in 1872 by British engineer and archaeologist Wayman Dixon. He had been hired by the British government to study the pyramid and was exploring a narrow passage known as the Ascending Passage when he noticed a small door. This door led to a narrow, low-ceilinged corridor, which in turn led to the Queen's Chamber. The chamber itself is a small, rectangular room measuring about 5 meters by 2.5 meters. It is located at a height of 17 meters above the pyramid's base and is accessed via a steeply inclined passage. Unlike the King's Chamber, which is located higher up in the pyramid and is larger, the Queen's Chamber has a relatively plain appearance, with simple walls and a flat ceiling. At the time of its discovery, many believed that the Queen's Chamber was intended to serve as a burial chamber for a queen or other female member of the royal family. However, subsequent investigations by other archaeologists have suggested that this is unlikely. So, if the Queen's Chamber wasn't intended as a burial chamber, what was its purpose? One of the most widely accepted theories about the purpose of the Queen's Chamber is that it was a storage room. As the chamber is located roughly halfway up the pyramid, it would have been a convenient location for storing tools, food, and other supplies needed during the construction of the pyramid. Additionally, the chamber's location and dimensions do not match the pattern of other known burial chambers in ancient Egypt. Despite ongoing research and speculation, the true purpose of the Queen's Chamber remains a mystery. However, its discovery has added another layer to the complex and fascinating history of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza has 2 narrow shafts that climb steeply upwards from the north and south walls of the chamber. Although their purpose is not entirely clear, these shafts have become a primary focus of continuing investigation of the pyramid's internal structure. The north shaft in the Queen's Chamber is aligned with certain stars, while the south shaft is aligned with Sirius. Some experts believe that these shafts were used for ventilation, while others think they had an astronomical function. Some people also believe that they may have had some unknown religious purpose. The openings of the shafts were originally bricked up and hidden, and it was only in 1872 that they were discovered and opened by Dixon. The shafts are a remarkable feature of the Great Pyramid and are unlike anything found in other pyramids. They are narrow and run at an angle, which makes them difficult to explore, Breyer said. The King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza also has similar shafts. In 1993, an engineer named Rudolf Gaddenbrink used a robot with a camera called UPUAUT-2 Wapawet to video the inner walls of the Queen's Chamber shafts as part of a project sponsored by the German Archaeological Institute. The video showed that the southern shaft ended with a small limestone slab with 2 corroded pieces of copper inserted into it. This door was about 6 centimeters thick, as some people speculated that it could lead to a chamber with a statue of the king. However, the size of the shaft and its proximity to the outer surface of the pyramid made this unlikely. The discovery of 3 objects that British archaeologist Dixon had taken from the north shaft in the Queen's Chamber and were rediscovered in the British Museum's depository made the shaft even more interesting. The objects included a stone sphere, a wooden slat, and a copper object that looks like a swallow's tail, which is now referred to as a hook. These objects, along with the discoveries made by the robot, prompted Standelman, the head of the German Archaeological Institute at the time of the robot exploration, to suggest that the shafts were model corridors for the dead king's soul to rise to the northern circumpolar stars and the southern land of light. He believed that the shafts were built for the dead king's journey to heaven. However, the purpose of the shafts remains unclear, as other pyramids lack them, and there are other ways for the deceased to access their offerings. Additionally, it is unclear why the shafts exist in both the Queen's and King's chambers. Despite this conclusion, the mystery still persists, and some people wonder why there is a need for a new robot project if there are no other possibilities to explore. Another significant discovery in the Great Pyramid of Giza was the discovery of the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery was discovered in 1837 by British archaeologist Colonel Howard Vyse. He was exploring the pyramid when he found a hidden passage that led to the corridor. The gallery is a long, narrow corridor, approximately 48 meters long, that rises at a steep angle towards the king's chamber. The walls of the corridor are made of large, polished limestone blocks that are precisely cut and fitted together. The blocks are so well placed that there is no visible mortar holding them in place. The Grand Gallery is an awe-inspiring sight, a massive corridor that rises steeply towards the king's chamber. The precision and skill required to construct such a massive structure are truly remarkable, and it remains one of the greatest feats of engineering in the ancient world, said Kara Cooney, Egyptologist and Professor of Egyptian Art and Architecture at the University of California, Los Angeles. The purpose of the Grand Gallery is not entirely clear, but several theories have been proposed. One of the most widely accepted theories is that it was used as a sort of ramp or pulley system for transporting the granite blocks used to construct the king's chamber. As the blocks were too large and heavy to be carried up the steep, narrow ascending passage, it is believed they were transported up the Grand Gallery using a ramp or sled. Regardless of its purpose, the Grand Gallery is a remarkable feat of engineering, and its design is also noteworthy, as it was engineered to support the massive weight of the pyramid above it. And of course, you remember when a top Egyptian official has extended an invitation to Elon Musk after the Tesla CEO suggested on Twitter that aliens built the pyramids. Musk's tweet received over 500,000 likes, leading Egypt's Minister of International Cooperation, Rana al-Mashat, to invite him to visit the country and learn about the pyramid's history. Al-Mashat expressed their admiration for Musk's work and encouraged him to explore the writings on the construction of the pyramids and the tombs of the pyramid builders. Musk later shared a BBC article summarizing the construction of the pyramids, but his initial tweet provoked responses from various public figures in Egypt. Renowned archaeologist Zaha Hawass, who discovered the tombs of the pyramid builders at Giza, dismissed Musk's claims as a complete hallucination. He emphasized that the builders were Egyptians and not slaves. So, with new discoveries, this opinion of Elon Musk is becoming more and more controversial. And that's it for today. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell.